This is Ironman training with POTS and Type 1 diabetes, week 13. Let's go. This week it was 5 runs for 36 miles, 3 bike rides for 140 miles, and 2 swims for 5,650 yards. All right, let's talk about training, then we're gonna talk about POTS, and then we're gonna talk about diabetes. Did a couple medium runs Monday and Wednesday. Then Friday, we did a 10 miler. Yesterday, we did our first brick with a 3-mile run at the end of the 50-mile ride. And then today we ran for 2 hours where we just did about 11 miles, a little over 11 miles. I haven't run this well in years. In fact, it might be entirely possible that I've never run this well. So we do have 2 factors. We've got that midodrine pill that I've been taking for a while. I don't know if that's it. I think it's the Ironman training. I think it's all the time on the bike is just significantly helping my run. But usually a 2-hour run, if I'm doing it, most of it in zone 2, then yeah, we'll just keep Wolfie in here. If I'm doing most of it in zone 2, I'm expecting that it's like a 12:30, something like that pace. Instead, even this morning was 10 minutes and 40 seconds. So almost all of these under 11, they all are under 12. And I'm looking forward to PRing my marathon at the end of the bike. The 2 things impacting my running the most this week are my ankle. It still hurts. I don't know if it's my foot, my ankle, my whatever, but it hurts. It might just be a pissed off nerve. It could be the tendon. I think I'm just one bad step away from ruining the whole damn thing. So we take our off days seriously. The other thing that could be impacting the run is that I just haven't run fast in a long time. I've been running long, slow distance for so long now that honestly, just getting my legs turning is hard. So it's actually been hard to get into some of these higher heart rate zones right now. So continuing to do strength training Tuesdays and Thursdays. I did 2 sessions this week. Again, I'm not expecting to see any sort of massive strength improvement here. If anything, we're focusing on injury prevention. When I start training for ultras and Spartan races again, we'll incorporate different movements. But right now, it's just about not getting hurt. I had 2 really good indoor sessions on the bike this week. One 90-minute session on Tuesday that included some intervals. 2-hour zone 2 session on Thursday. But then the really cool thing that happened is I finally went and got my bike fitted. Got it adjusted professionally. I bought this thing off a marketplace. I haven't touched it since I did, and I've been logging some serious miles. So the guy made a number of adjustments, and then I went out on the road yesterday. I did 50 miles total. I did 30 out on the road on the intercoastal. It is an awesome ride at sunrise. And then like 30 minutes later, when everybody else gets up, there's 1,000 cars, people are crossing over all over the place. It's just not a really great environment for somebody who is trying to ride a bike for more than 100 yards at a time. So after 30 miles, I went home and I did the last 20 on the indoor trainer. And then we got up and did a brick, got up and ran. So I guess I was already convenient. I was in my tri-suit. I just had to switch out my shoes. And there's a golf course, an abandoned golf course. It's now a county park not far from my house. So I just went and ran there. Only for 30 minutes. The first 5 minutes took like an hour and a half. I mean, it was like, the oh my God sort of movements of like, this isn't going to work. How am I going to run like this? And but after that 5 minutes, I started settling into a pace. And you would think after 2.5, almost 3 hours on the bike that maybe it would have been harder to settle into a zone 2 pace, or that, my heart rate would have been elevated, but that is not the case. I actually ran at a really comfortable pace, despite the fact that I was sweating a lot, despite the fact that I was really hot. The tri-suit was keeping a lot of heat, even though I got the one like with the sleeveless and everything. But that's because I generate a lot of heat. I have an intolerance to heat. My body has trouble regulating its body temperature, and so I run hot. Y'all make fun of me for running shirtless all the time, but that's why. So, however, it was a good run. 30 minutes, nice and easy. Got that done, went and stretched. So the bike workout, all awesome. Can't wait to get back up to the Sun Coast next week and put in some serious miles with the new adjustments. Talking about the swim is going to be really anticlimactic this week. First, I showed up to the pool on Monday and they were closed. So the pool was closed. So, oops. Came back on Wednesday, ended up doing 3,000 yards. I did 1,500 yards of drills and then 1,500 yards of freestyle. The plan today was to do 500 yards of drills and then 3,500, 25 yards of freestyle, which is 2 miles, uninterrupted, unbroken, and it did not go well. So I already ran 11 miles this morning. I'm going to talk about my blood sugar in a little bit, but that is the culprit here. Came back, had some breakfast, had my protein shake, cup of coffee. I went and got in the pool. I took a honey stinger gel before I got in the pool. I did the drills for 500 yards. Then I took another honey stinger gel. And at one point, I stopped to check it. And I saw that it was getting low. It was like 127 and dropping. And I'm like, what the hell? How is this even possible? I think I was only 1,500 yards into it or something. And so I decided to keep swimming for a little while. But I had to call it, and so that sucked. So this was a very anticlimactic week of swimming. I did not achieve any of the targets that I set out for. There's definitely a little bit of panic setting in of like, oh my God, I'm so behind. The race is 7 weeks from today. Still haven't been in the open water, although I'll do that soon. The weather's been changing, and I got to get these yards in. So this was a humbling day for swimming. All right, let's talk about POTS. And to be honest, there's not that much to talk about it. I was very symptomatic earlier in the week. I felt very POTSy. I hate that term. I really need to come up with something else here. But it felt like nothing short of a panic attack. And that wasn't necessarily during my exercise, but from the moment I woke up on several days, I'm not sure it went away. But that's basically one of the components of POTS, is that your body's just sort of in this fight or flight state, doesn't understand that like all is well. And it is part of what I call sort of the chronic triangle, because I've got POTS, I have diabetes, I have sleep apnea, and any one of those things could disrupt the whole cycle. I do not think it was training related. I felt more episodes of passing out than I do. It's usually something that happens kind of here and there. And it happened a lot. There was a lot of sort of severe cases of it. So yeah, the POTS was definitely triggered, and that has me terrified, of a potential crash. So I am trying to manage it the best I can. I'm doing everything I can to keep up with water, with sodium, with electrolytes. Like I mentioned, it is expensive to be alive. I use BPN, Tailwind, Honey Stinger, Element, Propel sometimes, sea salt, lemon. I'm forgetting something here, and it's just non-stop. The good news is it didn't show up in my training, or at least if it did, then I'm just getting fast. So POTS did not seem to be a huge impact on my training this week. Now, diabetes, however, has been askew, and my overall A1C is improving. My 90-day average is drastically improving. When we started this back in January, it was 165. It was down to 158 yesterday. I haven't checked it today. That's a 7-point drop. I'm using maybe half as much insulin as I was. So these are all positive things. What I'm not being effective at is stopping this. And they say that you can't outwork a bad diet. You also can't outwork your diabetes. Fitness is a fundamental component of managing and beating your type 1 diabetes. However, it is not a cure for type 1 diabetes. And not for nothing, neither is generic insulin, or pharmaceutical insulin. We have to manage it all around, and that includes our lifestyle and our diet and eating choices. And sometimes I make bad decisions. Sometimes I seek that comfort food too, or whatever. And for me, it was pizza last night. And it's not that you can't have pizza as a diabetic, or that it's necessarily even bad. And I'm certainly burning the calories. However, it's got like a rebound effect. So when I go to bed, my blood sugar was actually like going low. 2 hours after I go to sleep, it's like 280, and it was up there all night. So I wake up basically feeling hungover. And then the weirder rebound effect is like when my feet hit the floor, it almost instantly starts dropping. And so by the time I was on my run, it was actually hard to keep up with it. So today's incident with the pool is 100% my fault. I did not manage my blood sugars well last night, and the results showed up in my exercise. And I don't know if you could see it in my eyes, but like I feel crappy today. My run was okay, but it didn't feel good, and it might have gone better had I better treated my diabetes. So with 7 weeks left, the most important thing that I need to focus on is not my swim. It's not my bike, and it's not the run. It's managing my diabetes. Because out of that chronic triangle, if I can nail one of them, other things fall in line. So I need to be disciplined and consistent about my sleep patterns. Control the things that you can control. I'm already very regimented about what I do for the pots, but what I need to do is make sure that I also take care of those triggers. So I've probably let myself slip or basically take it easy with diabetes because my exercise was doing so much of the work. But I don't want another night like that. And what's fundamentally, critically important is that on race day, I wake up, with controlled blood sugar. I can't have a night like that the night before race day. And it's not going to be dumb luck. It's going to start by the decisions that I make today. To manage your type 1 diabetes isn't a one-time thing. It's an all-the-time thing. I mean, not for nothing, training for Ironman, therefore, also is not just during training. It's all the decisions that I make all the time. Just to wrap up one more thing, I keep talking about distance, miles, and yards. It was interesting to consider how much time is what's being put into this. So year to date, I've logged 130 hours, and that's just running, swimming, and biking. That's not even considering the extra 100 hours of, warm-ups, cool-downs, yoga, stuff like that. So it is definitely a commitment. But whenever people say things like, "I can't do what you can do," that's bullshit. All right. If you can't run mile 50, it's because you won't run mile 1. It's not about the distance, though. It's about the time. So if you put the time into it, you will see results. There's no question about that. The results you want, I don't know. But if you put the time in, you will see results. That's a guarantee. So we got 7 weeks till Ironman Jacksonville. The next 30 days are going to get pretty intense. There's going to be a lot of miles, a lot of hours, a lot of PRs, a lot of fuel. Let's go. Live inspired.